Hello, everybody. Welcome to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire. And if you're joining in for the very first time, you should know that we typically rant weekly, right here, about art, movie, and comic book related news stuff. Joining me tonight is Brandon Lead Heavy James. Brandon, say hello.
Hello.
Hey. Also joining in is series regular and superstar Ashley West. Ashley, say hello.
Hey.
Hey. So here's a quick rundown of the topics we will be covering tonight. I got some SketchCraft news. We had some technical issues last week. Good times. We have some new podcasts up I want to talk about really quick. Some coloring things, some saucy art I've been making. Some Marvel stuff I want to talk about. Cover-related art, if you can believe that.
Whoa.
And there's some new info on some Ninja Turtle figures I'll talk about. Plus, Brandon took a giant art trip. All that and more on today's episode 32. Wow, 32. SketchCraft Live. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. So, last week we had 12 days of really interesting technical issues.
Technical hell.
Technical hell that have been plaguing this fucking show and driving Rob plumb crazy. All worked out. As you know, we are all in perfect audio now. One issue, internet solved. All sorts of things that have just been driving me nuts. And Brandon, you and I even recorded a podcast.
It drove you so crazy. And if people haven't seen this, go back to the last podcast that we're on. And Rob did hand puppets. He pantomimed Pacific Rim with his hands and kaiju monsters and robots. It was disturbing and entertaining at the same time because it was like I was seeing a happy Rob, but also like could kill everyone in the world Rob. It was a good mix, you know. Yeah. So you were definitely at your. I mean, there's only so much an artist can take when you rely on the internet to do your job and it doesn't work. It's like, I don't know, any other job, you rely on one thing to do your job and that one thing doesn't work at all. It's just all going to turn to shit from there. So,
yeah. So it was a good time.
Fun.
It's a good time. On the other note, Ashley, we recorded a gaming podcast Friday. So, right? Mm-hmm. So that's up. Amazingly. I also did a teaser, I don't know, the Star Trek trailer too. I did that with Kyle when Brandon was on the road, and I didn't think Ashley cared. So Kyle and I talked a little bit about Star Trek. That podcast is up. Interesting note, though, about the Star Trek podcast I want to bring up really quick is the poster art for Star Trek Beyond. They debuted 2 posters. One, a homage to the original Star Trek the Motion Picture, and another one, which is kind of new, which both I want to show because I think they're pretty fucking awesome. I didn't have anything to do with these. I'm just saying I'm a fan. Let's go right to this antique. Oh, wait. No. There you go. Let's do desktop with it. There we go. Perfect. So this right here is the homage to Star Trek the Motion Picture. It is so nice to see art, even if it's just a recreation of something that was artistic, and a more artistic approach to posters being shown. I hope this is what ends up in the movie theaters.
That's pretty cool.
Doubtful. Have a strong doubtful feature this will ever end up in. But Brandon, you and I were at the movie theater when Deadpool came out. And I was like, hey, look, there's a Struzan style poster on the wall at the theater. Now it's pretty fucking awesome. Considering Star Wars didn't even have that.
Yeah.
So I hope this is the beginning. Also, the second poster, which I think is pretty cool. Still, there's an artist called Bill Peak or Bob Peak. I can never remember. I get screwed up. And he did both. He used to do these Streaks of Light kind of covers. He did the Apocalypse Now. He did that poster you saw, the original Star Trek version of that, and a bunch of other Star Trek posters. But this is pretty cool too. Streaks of light and stuff. I mean, it's just color and it's a giant 3D word, but still better than giant heads. Which, in the world of movie posters, it's just nice to see as an artist something beyond what happened in the 90s with the giant head in the logo syndrome takeover. So, both these posters, pretty cool. Let's see Star Wars actually apply something to that next. So that hopefully. Any thoughts about the posters from you two, or do you have any?
I like it. I like the first one. I just quickly was Googling. Is Bob Parks did the Apocalypse Now poster?
Sure, it isn't Peak.
Or okay. Park. I thought it was Parks, but I mean I could be wrong. And it says Parks, but sure. The internet. So I like it. I'm always a fan of bringing back more illustrated posters because I'm an artist and I like illustrations and I don't like big giant heads on the walls in the movie theater. It's cool to see the art.
I mean, granted that this is three heads on a poster, but it's done artistically.
but yeah, it's cool. It's not just their heads photoshopped and they're floating in there. It's like they're getting beamed up or whatever it is. It's actual art going on. So, but yeah, the Deadpool one, that was really cool just to see that kind of Struzan look. So I hope it's somewhat of a little bit of a trend, even if it's not every movie, but maybe just a couple random ones. I mean, I would have liked to seen it for like the the Captain America Civil War one. That would have been cool. Things like that, but you know, that's not gonna happen. But I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'll now say like the first one you showed with the three heads, that's something that you would see less to me in a movie theater area where you see all the posters up or like it's coming. Like the second one, I feel like I'd see that more. But I like both of them. I like it's like the contrast of colors with the streaks of light and or the
And it's
complementary colors,
and it's
should
how they
say.
used to make posters. This
Yeah.
was the one sheet in the movie theaters long time ago, in a Star Trek far, far away. So I just really hope that because of the years of Mondo, I'm not the biggest fan of that vector look that they do. That being said, years of producing artistic posters might eventually just have this effect where we're going to get
Would
something
you
more artistic.
would you take though the Mondo Vector art posters over
Yes, yes,
picture?
yes, yes,
Okay, so
yes. I'll
so
take anything that does. What happened in the 1990s to posters is a travesty. The last great series of posters was Struzan's Phantom Menace, Star Wars, and his only one Harry Potter. He did make a second Harry Potter.
Are we
Warner's never used it.
talking? I'm scared. Sorry, before I lose track. Are we talking about the guy who did the poster for Blade Runner?
He did a Blade Runner poster, yeah.
Okay, I
It
don't know
wasn't
because I know
used
that there's
as
a
the one
good.
sheet.
Yeah, I know that there's a Blade Runner poster out there that's like really. It's got it's like got all the heads on it, but it's all like artist. I mean, an
Well, he
artist.
yeah he sort of helped build that head. I mean, he'd prefer not to. He talks about that. Studio heads push those the actor's likeness, but it was still drawn.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
um,
like those. Those are good.
my favorite artist, Struzan, definitely being up there. It's probably more the Bob Parks. I gotta get his name down. I always forget this shit. So, but he did like the Apocalypse Now. If you ever seen that poster, it's just smoke and light in the jungle. The Superman poster, the original one sheet was a streak of colored light in the clouds. You know, and
mhm.
like to me, that was like, man, what is that? I want to go see that. Uh, but in the '90s, when Photoshop took over, they could just start grabbing photos of, and you saw these on video cassettes when you go to Blockbuster or the video store. You just see, uh, the firm. It would be Susan Sarandon, some kid, just big heads, serif fonts, and then
Right.
eventually dwindle down to nothing. So this is just a good first step now that hopefully both of these will end up in the theater, and they won't just be like we use these at the fan event. So
I think my favorite Drew Struzan poster, just to go off on that topic, would have been his Hellboy one, the one where you sent me the video on. Just because one, I like Hellboy, and two, just to watch the process made me appreciate that piece of art like way more. Just to see it being made. Um, Actually, the Blade Runner one you were talking about, just out of curiosity, was it the one where it had the blues and the hot pinks kind of colored contrast?
It's the one. It's the one where it's got. Well, in the one I'm seeing, it's like purplish blue with
yeah,
orangish.
Struzan did that for the DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That was for
Yeah.
the
that's
DVD
him.
anniversary. He did an initial concept for Blade Runner, and they went with another artist that kind of used a lot of his ideas, and he was
Hmm.
able to go back and do what he wanted to do for the, you know. So
Yeah. And I know the
anyhow,
Harry Potter one you're talking about. Yeah, I knew that one.
he got to finish the second one, and that's in his book. There's a book Struzan put a. There's a couple books. There's a giant one called Au revoir, and I have that. There's another smaller one, it's thinner, just Drew Struzan in his own words. That's the one I recommend. If you could get one book on Amazon, because it's his career starting from Indiana Jones's international poster, Raiders of the Lost Ark, all the way up to Hellboy 2 poster, and it's all in his own words. And he kind of runs through what happened to movie posters. And if you want to know what just happened to merchandising and licensing in general, I think for an artist, it's an every artist must read. Period. If you ever plan on working for people and taking direction, you got to read. Drew Struzan's book. You can read it in a night. It's pretty short, but it's like you get all these details in the front of the book, and as it goes, it's just less, and then he less, and finally he's like, and then he retired. Like it's not a happy book. It's not a feel good, but it's extremely honest. So and it has lots of cool concept sketches of things that he did that didn't even make it. I mean, one of my favorite, if you want to know, my favorite Drew Struzan poster of all time is his Masters of the Universe poster. The He-Man Master of the Universe is not a good movie. His poster sells it. Like his poster is like, I want to go see that.
Right.
And you should see some of his other layouts.
And that's what a movie poster should do. It should make you want to go see the movie, and it did. And that's what his art did. It made you see these magical worlds and these places and just think, wow, this is cool.
And he did a lot of great animated posters. He did like the Fievel, the Fievel posters. Remember that American Tail? He did a lot of animated stuff. He did a few Disney stuff. He did the Hook poster, which is probably from a technical standpoint.
I saw that one.
His Hook poster is unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's probably his finest work of draftsmanship. I'm like, well, that's never happening for me. So, so, and then he also goes through. He did the poster for Adventures in Babysitting, and it went to Paramount, and eventually came back to him damaged, and he shows how he repaired it and spruced it up, and how he owns it.
It looks like he did We're Back, a Dinosaur Story as well. I'm seeing some E.T. and I'm seeing oh my gosh, Back to the Future. Right?
Yeah, he did the Back to the Futures, and he's got a lot of great stories in too, and how he had to get that done. So I recommend Drew Struzan's book. It's this thin. It's on Amazon. Matter of fact, since I'm just describing this stuff, I forget I have the internet. Let's see if I can just dig it up really quick. Unplanned. I don't get any credit for this or any money for this. Amazon, Drew Struzan. And see if I can dig this book up so you all can see the exact one. I am talking about the art of Drew Struzan.
Some
This is the one
bonus
right
stuff
here.
that we weren't planning.
Let's just go right here, desktop. So this is the one right here I'm talking about. The art of Drew Struzan. You can get it used for $20, or even new for $20. So there you go, right on Amazon. It's black right here. That's the cover. Written by Drew Struzan. I highly recommend this is the book you get, period. All right. So let's move on with life. Brandon, you took a little trip this week.
That I did. I went to California. Woot woot. Which I don't really care for, but it was something that needed to be done. Basically, I have been having a little trouble with my color blending. Not little. I fucking suck at color blending. So, I have these expensive Copics and I have these great color pencils, but what good is having these great tools if I don't know how to apply them? So basically, Rob told me, said, hey, you need to just get your ass down here and learn some shit. And like right after I got off work, I ate dinner, took a shower, and got in my car and drove through the night, which did suck a lot. 20-mile-per-hour winds, dust everywhere. Not a big fan of that drive. Got there, stayed up a little bit, chatting. Then we got up in the
You
morning.
got to see me play some Uncharted 4?
That I did. I got to watch you play some Uncharted 4. And
I will say, Brent, is a rare treat. Most people don't ever get to see me play video games. It's just it's rare I ever play one. So
right, which was only maybe an hour, 30 minutes before you went to bed. I mean, it wasn't like you sat there for hours. It was like, hey, I'm just gonna unwind for a minute, and then you were done.
Yeah.
Before you even started. Then we got up and sat down at the table, and we spent 3 hours, 4 hours. Going over colors, marker use, techniques, just things that don't translate well for some people like me over the internet. Sometimes I'm a more hands-on person. I need to see it in front of me and actually experience it, work on it, do it. So it was nice to take the time to actually sit there and make the art. So that being said, did that, went to go eat. The weather was amazing. I do love that part about San Diego. It was 65 out. Then I got in my car. We went for a walk and talked. Game planned for future stuff. And then I got in my car and drove all the way through the night back to Arizona. So I spent about 12 hours of driving in the span of 24 hours.
Mm.
So it was yeah. And, you know, anybody who questions my commitment to the craft, that should be a point that I'm definitely committed. I really want to be a better artist and I really want to push myself. And maybe I don't always push myself as hard as I could. Like, I mean, I know everybody does that. We all slack off, but I mean, I really want to get better. So when I have someone like Rob, not to toot his horn, says, "Hey, you want to learn?" I take it as a golden opportunity. It says, "Yeah, I want to fucking learn." I mean, if LeBron James or Michael Jordan's like, "Hey, you want to learn how to shoot a jump shot?" Yeah, I'm gonna grab the basketball and listen to every word they got to say. So good experience, tiring. I think I'm still a little car lagged, but that's the trip. Anything you want to add to that, Rob?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to emphasize, there were things that I could tell you weren't doing to your benefit. Like, first off,
Right.
I don't know what markers you own. You used to buy markers that would be close to colors, whatever the store
Hmm.
had. Which I'm like, if they were the same, they would have just not made that marker. So there was that problem. I needed to see what you were using. Two, I know for a fact you're just however you hold the pencil, because I was having you do blends with color pencil, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, it looks like he's using a crayon. I gotta, and I can. The internet, a camera can only show so much. That's why sometimes people are like, why don't you make a video of this, a video on that? And half the time they got a point, and the other half of the time I'm like, because it just won't matter. Like I can make it. Case in point, you put up on the podcast archive, you put up this one where you had a question about can I make a tutorial on how to scan in and tint line art. And the whole point of the podcast for me, Crusher was on there. He was asking, he's like, was the whole point of this just to basically tell Brandon no? And I replied, yes. Like, like it was 26 minutes of me saying like, yeah, I can make you a tutorial, but I don't know if those colors and how I'm doing this will help you or will solve your problem. You have to also, there is a level of you looking at your situation and being able to logically look at it and go, well, how can I, get to what I need to do? What is it I'm first trying to do, trying to accomplish, and how can I get there? In this case, yeah, I kind of needed to show you, and I don't know how like holding your pencil, like I'll do a bit of that. I think like showing people just how to hold their pencil and get a lighter color and a darker color, kind of like juvenile stuff. But you know, um, sadly, people don't know. Like if you want more color from your color pencils, hold it closer to the tip. If you want less, you want a really light yellow, you don't have to buy light yellow. Just hold the pencil from the back and you'll
Right.
get a very light yellow. Like it's really amazing. And then how to use those to smooth out Copic colors, which I will be doing some more on because someone else had a good question about that. Like, yeah, how do I take these markers and make smooth colors out of them? Do I blend the shit out of the paper? And I'm like, no, just grab some color pencils and fill in the gaps. So we'll cover a bit of that. And then also, I needed to see what paper types you were using for these sketch covers because you were telling me before on one of the sketch covers, oh Rob, this won't work. The paper's too fucked up. And I'm like, I don't believe anything you're telling me. Like I just don't believe it. So when you brought it here, I was showing you how no, it works.
Yeah.
You just have to know how the tools, sort of facilitate. So it does happen. I don't ask you to come down often. It's been a year. I do think we're going to have to make time every year to do something at some point, just to get you a refresher. But yeah, this kind of had to happen because I saw you do something recently where I was like, you made the art worse, and
Right.
I'm not saying it's your fault, but listening to me and then that's why I tell you folks, if you have the opportunity, if you have a local community college or even a local art studio where you can go and meet an artist, and even if they're not your world's favorite artist, that the teacher is not the next Jim Lee. They don't have to be. They can have a lot of really great, useful information. You know,
Right.
maybe they know how to color strawberries really fucking well. Well, that strawberry could end up being Superman's cape, or fucking Optimus Prime. Because he's red. Like you got to like learn, how to like take technique out of the, separate technique from personal interest.
You don't have to like somebody to learn from them.
Well, is that what you're saying about me, Brandon? Is that what you meant?
You don't always have to. You don't always have to see
Hmm.
eye to eye to
Hmm.
respect somebody and learn from them. No, we Jessica watched a Shark Tank, and someone turned down 50K because they didn't like the personality that Mr. Fantastic on the show. And me and the wife had a conversation about this. You don't just because you don't respect someone's personality, if they are doing something better than you by far, and they have something they can teach you, you take what you can get and you learn from them. You don't have to be buddies with them. You don't have to be best friends. You just got to take what you need to learn from them and apply that to yourself. And a lot of people, artists in general, have egos and they're not willing to let go of that ego and just learn from another artist. Maybe they'll listen for a bit and then it goes in one ear and they go, yeah, I'll do that. And then they just totally ignore it and they don't use the art help. And it's just a fucking waste. And I just figure if I have this opportunity to learn from somebody, I'm going to use it. Whether I have to drive through the middle of the night or stay up and record podcasts with you, it's something I need to do to put in my time to learn. And it's just a lot of people can't let their egos go and just learn, and it hurts them in the end. So
And Brandon doesn't have to like me.
not all the time, not all the time. So
Do you have any words of wisdom, Ashley? I mean, you've been through, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess mine is like be your worst critic. Look at your stuff and go like, all right, I finished it. So what could be better?
Yeah,
What could I do better next time?
that's true.
What pose would be better? Like that's how I do that with my work all the time. And it's kind of maddening. And I've had a lot of bad nights because of it, but usually wake up the next day going, all right, let's start again. And so it's just how it is, and
I always
yeah,
find picking one thing, like
what?
whatever you did last, find one thing you really want to work on the next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh, that elbow is freaking weird. Okay, I need to really think about elbows, or something like that. It's
Yeah.
just, just never don't like it's good to be happy with your work a little bit because you don't want to like make yourself depressed by being this like asshole to yourself, but at the same time you can't let your pride get in the way of you getting better and just uh I mean, yeah, I mean, I've had screaming fights with my sister about like, because she's an artist too, but we're different. Like she paints with oil paints and stuff, and I remember one time I drew this thing and I was like, man, it's pretty good, and this was like 4 years ago or something, and she's like, no, it's shitty, and I was like, what are you talking about? And this is actually in California. We were fighting. We were on a trip, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was so mad at her, but she was right, And I think I really learned from that, And
that makes it even worse when they're right.
yeah,
Like when Rob says something I do is shit, and then he's right. I'm just like, fuck. Why? It's got to be right.
yeah, and so yeah, but again, we all have our low moments, and you have to just be like, no, I can definitely be better than this. So
Yeah, it's just part of the process. Also, I mean, fuck, one trip to get some advice is one thing. I mean, I took a job once in San Clemente. It's about an hour, 2 hour drive every day one way in morning traffic, you know, just so I can get better at doing t-shirts and all that mileage and gas money combined plus back. And I was still going to college. So like I had to take all my college and put them in these night courses and then I had to drag out the semesters, like an extra year because there was only so many I could take. Just because, one, there was work, but two, it was design work and I wanted to spend my time and I'd already done everything I could do at a shit job like Kinko's, right? I was working at Kinko's, so I already knew everything about printing. But I didn't understand how to do licensed design work, like how to design for mass audiences. Remove the art side of it, working in an art department, which I already know is not something that's going to exist in the near future. I mean, it barely exists now. Outside of LA, there's barely things like art departments. It's just artists working remotely through the internet. So and I used to drive every day. People go, why were you driving? That's a hellish commute. And I'm just like, well, it's not going to be forever. It's not 50 years. It's just this short period of time. And, they're paying me, so whatever. And it paid off. I mean, that was a situation where I had all these people around me, and then they all left because they had other opportunities, and I was the only one left. And then it was like, what do you do when you're the only artist left? And I wasn't an art director, but I had to maintain the status quo. Can you learn from the people that taught you? And I ended up working with those people later on in my career, and they were like, "Yeah, when we left, you fucking carried the torch, man." And I was like, "Well, I just did what you taught me to do." And that's what I tell Brandon, like, when you leave, will you do what I just showed you, or will you go back to doing what was comfortable?
Not
Because you're not. It's not going to help. Like,
right. No, I'm not gonna waste my time and gas. Like,
well, that's and when you have to sacrifice a little bit, you tend to care a little bit more.
oh yeah.
Tend to care a little bit more. All right, let's move right along. We're at the 25-minute mark here.
Why don't you go over some of the audio
Well, we already talked
issues
about
there?
all that stuff. We fixed all that. So, let's talk about these Marvel covers. So, I had a question come up this past week. Someone was asking me on the streams how long I've been drawing plushies. Might have been Johnny. I can't remember. Because they already noticed I was working on the Chrono Trigger piece. I was like, "Wow, how long you been drawing plushies in your art?" I'm like, since high school. I used to call it Iron Manga. Like I would draw like Captain America, and I would make Iron Man like a little Pocket Fighter. It was that thing at the time. Have you ever seen Pocket Fighter? Pocket Fighter was like Street Fighter, but they're like little chibi versions. So I was like,
No.
what if that was my Iron Manga? Ha ha ha. I wasn't a great writer, right? But I mean, you could get the idea, And I would draw this big-headed little chibi. What's popular now? I would do in 1994 with little Iron Man, and he'd have this little gun, and I started. People go, oh, that's cute. They would look at that more than they would look at the picture of Captain America. So I would draw Batman, and then I would draw all of his other characters as little manga dudes, or I started calling them plushies because I went to this arcade cabinet and they had the claw machine, and I was like, get a plushie, and I'm like, oh, they're like plushies, and I like claw machines. I'm horrible at them, but I like the idea of going in there, getting a toy, and pulling it out. So, and so I've been doing that since about 94, 95. Professionally, I couldn't get one plushie into my work until Game Fan issue 6. Like, yeah, it was 2010 or 11. So, like, I tried at Play forever, tried at the different gaming, the comic book companies I work with, never went through. But this week, I bring it up because this week, Marvel unveiled their August 2016 preview pictures for all their covers. And let's just take a look over here really quick. Let's just see what is Marvel doing. Do 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 do. Let's bring this up. Desktop. They're doing Marvel Tsum Tsums. Every other cover has these things called a Tsum Tsum. They even got a whole issue, Marvel Tsum Tsum issue 1.
It's the worst name ever.
Right. And what are Tsum Tsums? I was like, well, let me go type in what the hell is a Tsum Tsum? And it brings me to the Disney store. Tsum Tsums are plushies.
Weird tubular, plushy looking things.
Yeah.
They're like snowman plushies. You stack them on top of each other like a snowman.
Like a
except
beanie.
they're-
Yeah, they find a one-all template and shove it into that, right? So they're not really making like a plushie of Captain America. They're just finding this one-all template, and then every character sort of fits it because, merchandising. But all these covers have Tsum Tsums on it. Like, let me go back. You got to get out of some of the reprints here. Let's just go back to the front of this thing. Here we go. So, like, here's Doctor Strange with Tsum Tsums. That's gonna get the kids. Uh, everybody wants this, right? Deadpool with Tsums. Now, Deadpool makes sense, but look at this. It's not a plush. I don't know what the fuck it is, man. But it is just funny, You do something long enough, eventually the world will sort of catch up with you. And it's not like they went to my DeviantArt, like, I'm gonna put plushies in this shit. But it is just like this one's great. Look at this one, Captain America, Steve Rogers, where he's buried under a bunch of Tsum Tsums.
Yeah, I'm looking at Captain America and this other one where he's carrying one under his arm like a football and running from Loki.
This Spider-Man, he's got a giant Tsum
And there's
Tsum on his head.
Spider-Man and Rocket with a Groot. Rocket has a Groot Tsum Tsum.
Yeah, and Hawkeye shooting an Ant-Man Tsum Tsum on the bow and arrow. There's one. Yeah, that's awesome. And I remember when I was at my last licensing job, they saw the plushies and they're like, "That's never gonna plushies,"
Well,
Uh,
and
hmm.
here's another thing that I just thought of because it clicked in my brain. Kid Robot makes these vinyl toys, and they put out this line. If you want to look it up, it's called. If you just put in Kid Robot Marvel Labbit, which is rabbit with an L. They have the same kind of zoom look, but they're vinyl figurines with big rabbit ears. Same kind of stubby arms, rounded body, and it's all the different Marvel characters. And I think that's where they first got their, for this motive. It was Kid Robot put out these Labbits.
I've
which were
seen these before.
okay.
Yeah.
So you've seen those, right?
Yeah. But I
And
wouldn't have known if you'd said it. But yeah, now I
it just,
definitely.
I think maybe they took obviously the plushie idea and also this and
Well,
mixed
not
them
my. I'm not
together.
saying they went into Rob's thing and took. It's just here's the thing, right? There's there's a culture around collectability, all right?
Hmm.
And working collectability into collectible art always seemed like a natural fit for me. A lot of my serious minded art friends would just laugh at it, you know? And now I'm like, aha, right? The downside of this is no one's gonna buy a comic book for a bunch of fucking Tsum Tsums, man. Like it's the wrong thing. You know, again, a typical like boneheaded move. You know, Marvel loves to do these things where they like theme all their variant covers. I remember one year it was vampires, and next year gorillas took over. It's like that's a variant cover should be something that's like a poster. You know, like okay, the Star Trek stuff, right? That should be in the one sheets as the movie posters, but you know it's probably not going to be. It'll be the generic marketing thing. But a variant should be something that's like a really awesome piece of art, something that you're like, I want to poster that shit. Not a bunch of hokey fucking, you know, stuffed animal covers shoved in with your, you know, what 40-year-old Marvel guy is going to be like, man, I got to get all those Tsum Tsum variants.
Well, yeah.
You know, like it's just not. They were better off putting Disney Infinity on those covers, although now it doesn't really matter. So it's kind of sad. But it is funny. What's going to happen now is people are going to let them go, that's like the Tsum Tsum thing. I know, like, a friend of my wife showed off the Star Wars retro cover. She had the poster in her cubicle at work. And some guy goes and goes, oh, he's drawing like Gwenpool. And I'm like, I assure you, I
Oh,
am not.
oh no.
I assure you, I am not. But there's nothing you can do about it. I've been hearing since I was a kid. It was like, well, you know, they're always going to look at you, and this is a separate topic, but people always look at your art and they're going to associate with whatever they know. So just let it go. I'm just telling you right now, is just let it go.
Oh yeah,
You
and it's
know,
happened to me too. Like where I'm just like, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was like. I'm like, yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah.
well, what I'm wondering is, so I didn't plan for this, but it just popped into my head. Surprise topic.
More
So
surprises.
So this today I saw Ryan Otley was posting that somebody was taking his art and doing the splatter effect filter thing in Photoshop and selling a bunch of prints at con, right?
Hmm.
And then there's this whole debate about, well, see, all they do is take generic art, not generic, but say cover art or
Hmm.
renders of
Right.
Wonder Woman, CGI renders or someone else's art, and they apply this filter. You know, they put a bunch of splatters and paint dodges and the silhouette and knock off someone to make a bunch of splatter prints, you know? And then I'm
Right.
wondering, is there going to be some negative fallout on me? Like when I look at this and so when someone sees the saucy art, they're going to go, did you redraw Ryan Otley stuff? You know, like, am I going to have to hear about this? Cause you know, like what happens is you do an art style and people see it on the internet and then all the, you know, the knockoff jerkweeds who abuse artists alley are going to go out there and trying to find a way to, you know, graphic design. This is what t-shirts do, by the way, licensed apparel now. This is exactly what licensed apparel does. They see something that took a lot of effort on Pinterest and then they make the cheap knockoff Photoshop version of it and shove it onto a t-shirt, and then now you're forced to buy it for the next 6 months at every Walmart, Hot Topic, Target. And then they wonder why the shirts at those retailers don't sell. You know, they wonder why are people buying. You know, I walked out of a breakfast diner the other day, and the guy was wearing a Harley Quinn chibi, you know, who stole that Thor's hammer from a Thor chibi. And I'm like, well, that can never exist in apparel, you
Right.
know, and let alone just the Thor's hammer thing. If it was just a chibi Harley Quinn stealing anything from Batman on a shirt, is probably not going to fly in men's apparel, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, it's a whole other topic, but this idea of taking a theme and shoving it into everything, it's not a good idea. Like I would not apply the plushie thing to gritty Masters of the Universe. If I was
Right.
doing, you know, a piece with She-Ra, then I could see I could do that. Or if I was going to do like Kid Adam, you know, and he had all of his He-Man statues and action, then I could see it. It's a way of working collectability has to be applied to the subject material. What's collectible? What's collectible feeling about a giant, fat, sheep-looking stuffed animal hitting Spider-Man in the head? You know
Right.
that's missing the point. And you
Like
can't explain that. I'm not going to cut it short. Go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, I just want to say before I forget. I couldn't really picture Batman with like like a plushy, I don't know, like Robin or Joker or something. You know, like you have to kind of think of the subject matter.
I
I
can
mean,
imagine a Joker thing where he's got his Batman action figure set
yeah,
up,
no, I could
and
see that. Yeah.
he's setting out a thing where he dips Robin into a vat of acid. He's taking his toy and ha ha ha, no, like then that would be a nice variant. Not gonna fit the storyline exclusive cover, right?
Hmm.
That's fitting the theme, but just shoving, hey, we want to cross promote, stuffed animals, with our parent company. So we'll just shove all these characters into all the variant covers, and they get the retailers on board, and then the retailers start, these are $25 covers, and fucking who cares? They did the same shit when last time I was on the Marvel license with these little Marvel chivis, Kawaii. We're gonna do Marvel Kawaii because there was a bunch of that, you know, Scotty Young stuff, right? The Marvel babies. And Scotty Young has, this isn't official, but just from working through licensing, apparently he has some deal with Marvel where he'll have to see money from them using his art. So, which smart move. The downside is they're never going to use his art. So they went and made their own kawaii stuff, thinking that's the same fucking thing. Now, if you've seen a few of these kawaii shirts, chances are they're the ones I did because I've tried my hardest. Made this comic book cover one, they're all flying into one another, and it's at the Walt Disney stores, and trying my best. But at the end of the day, it's a bunch of generic smiley faces that just happen to. One's a Spider-Man, one's a Hawkeye. There's nothing. It misses the point of what Scotty Young was doing with the Marvel babies, you know.
Hmm.
And it tries to take this trend and turn it into just a generic, cash cow driven marketing style guide based piece of nothing that's going to kill the whole idea. So I don't really care. It doesn't affect my life any. I'm never going to stop working collectability into my stuff because it's just part of who I am. And I am not the biggest fan of collecting things because I have a limited amount of space, but I do
Right.
enjoy action figures and stuffed animals and strategy guides and like I really love
Yeah.
all that shit. So
I mean, what people don't see because it's not very lit in there, and you don't have to turn the light on, but your closet is filled to the brim with art books, anime art books, different stuff that's written in even Japanese that you don't
I
even
buy a lot of
understand.
I buy a lot of books from Japan. Like they
Right.
aren't even in
You know,
English.
you, you got all the, you got all kind of classic image stuff. It's all there. You do buy stuff on the wall. You got the Silent J or Silent Jay and Silent Bob figurines and stuff. So I mean, you do like collectibles. You don't have like you're not huge on it because you just you don't collect a lot of stuff, but you do like them and you like what they represent. So
I just think too, to wrap it up, don't just start shoving a trending thing into your art, please, folks. Don't do that. Don't go, well, there's a lot of splatters at cons, so I'll just add a bunch of splatters to my art. So people, that's what they're buying. Don't. Be authentic, please.
oh,
You know?
that reminds me, Rob, just to follow trends. That I didn't say this the last week or so, but a couple weeks ago, I was on Instagram, and all of a sudden, I seen every artist posting a sketch of Prince, and immediately I go, "Oh, well, he's dead." And sure as shit, I look online, and Prince was dead. And it just reminds me of the podcast we did where people chase trends, like when a celebrity dies. You never hear them post, you never see them post like the celebrity's art until they die. Then all of a sudden, it's just glorified art of that person who died. And I get it; it's a way of showing respect, But it's like
But
right
half of them are
after,
just doing it so they get
right?
likes, right?
Half of them just doing it for the
Yeah.
likes and the follows and the hopefully reposting of it because I saw. I'm not going to name the artist, but they posted a Prince thing, and I go, oh, "Okay, what was your favorite song of his? Did any of it have meaning to you?" And he goes, "Oh, I wasn't that big of a fan." And I'm like, "Well, you just drew a whole tribute thing saying you were." And he's like, "Oh, he was cool, and I wanted it to look good." I was like, "All right, that's
At least
cool."
they were honest.
Yeah, I mean they were honest to me, but they're not going to say that online, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus. But
Right.
it just shocked me. I'm like, really? All right, that's cool. I just said, yeah, all right, cool. But don't chase trends, people. Don't. I mean, you can incorporate it in some way into your art if you want, but don't make it your intent goal. Don't be like, oh, everyone's drawing everyone in robots. Batman's a robot. Superman's a robot. I got to draw that like robot, or whatever. I mean, just don't chase
Just
trends.
be authentic. Do what appeals to you. And then if
Yes.
someone complains or says you whatever, you can go, well, no, that's because I care about that shit.
Right.
You know. So whatever. To jump on that, now I rarely bring up toys, folks. Rarely. But I have an unabashed love for the original set of NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. I even got one on my wall. Seal. NECA, NECA, did these line of Turtles figures about 10 years ago where they painted the lines on the Turtles. They made them look like the Eastman and Laird original set,
Right.
and they actually painted all the lines, which, as we all know from modern cosplay, is a huge thing now. You know, like
Correct.
I'm still waiting for my set of Jim Lee metallic painted X-Men figures or Wildcats where they can get that Scott Williams inking all over. Or
Right.
McFarlane. Why doesn't McFarlane do one with all that, the deluxe figure with all that cross hatching? But so I thought this was a joke at first, but no, it is real, and this is pretty fucking cool and sad in some way because I'm never gonna be able to get one. But NECA announced today on their Twitter. This comes from my own Twitter feed, folks, because I just found this. Let me bring this up.
I was so amped when I saw this.
A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade set. It's a
Yes.
pack of turtles with pixel-based paint schemes. They actually
Yes.
have the pixels painted on them, and Foot Soldiers and Shredder with a pixel diorama backing. And if we look at the packaging, see if you could get a close up here on the Leo. Look at all these cool pixels painted right on the figure.
Yes.
It's fucking awesome.
The multicolored foot soldiers from the game.
Yeah, the multicolored. There, even the. This is a really nice close up right here. Let's see if the packaging is on the site. So yeah, so this is the packaging. Look at this. It's actually got
Man,
the
Shredder looks so
press
cool.
start screen on the back for each one of each figure. It's got the actual arcade art, promo art from the arcade game. Doesn't have the original arcade logo, sadly. I prefer that, but
Hmm.
it's a nitpicky thing, Rob. It's a nitpicky thing.
Right.
And it comes with the arcade art. Now the arcade art that folds down. When it folds down, it has the original logo on the inside. So that's pretty awesome. You can see where the joysticks are.
Yeah.
And this is going to be exclusive at San Diego Comic-Con, which means
So
I
that
am
means-
never going to get one.
Yes, we will never get. We will be able to buy this on eBay for twice as much in a year from now.
$300 probably for each one.
Mm-hmm. Probably 100 at the show.
Look at the pixel shell. That's fucking amazing.
Ashley, you need to be more excited like we are.
I'm just waiting for the thing. There's a big delay. I think I'm behind you guys, like, for some reason.
There's a 30-second delay. Well, he's got the link,
Yeah.
so he's just opening the links.
Oh, okay. Well,
you,
yeah, I
you can
figured
open the
that
links up too, Ashley.
Yeah, I know. I just was like, I'll just wait. And I was like, well, this is taking a while.
Yeah,
That's
YouTube has a
cool.
30-second
cool.
delay.
I
But
do like them. Yeah.
it's nostalgia for us.
But if
and-
this is authentic nostalgia, this is the difference, between shoving a bunch of fucking Tsum Tsums into the motherfucking Marvel covers and producing, like, even the Shredder box, it's on fire. It has the pixel fire, and they put the pixel word foot that was on the backgrounds. And look, it's got pixel blood dripping, like it's been tagged and shit. It's fucking awesome. God, I want this so much. Oh, and the on the back of the Foot Soldier one, it has the Game Over turtles where they have 0 health points and they got the little
Yes.
stars above their head. So great, so great. 30 points of articulation per figure. So it's rare I ever want a toy. Someone gets me these things, we can trade for art.
I'm never buying you another gift again after what happened last time. Because I'll end up buying it for you, and then you'll already have it.
Oh.
Well, you'll know if I ever get this because I'll come online and be like, I got it. Like so, but
Yeah,
box.
real quick, just so Ashley knows and every other viewer knows. Rob's birthday 2 years ago, I believe it was. I said, "Hey man, what are you doing for your birthday?" He goes, "Oh, I don't have anything planned." I said, "I'm coming down to California. We're gonna go out for your birthday. We're gonna do something." Being the friend that I am, so I thought, what does Rob like? He likes Greg Capullo, so I get him this their unwrapped version, which means it's like all loose pencils and stuff of Greg Capullo's art. Now, I didn't have enough time to get it off Amazon, which would have been $20 cheaper. So I go to the actual store. I buy an actual copy for him, and I bring it to him, okay? We have a hangout for the weekend, blah, blah. I drive back. Now, Rob hits me up. He's like, yeah, I already have this. And I'm like, why the didn't you just tell me you had it, and I could have took it home with me, and I had a copy? And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, Rob. And I think your words were, no, you got it from me. It's my gift.
yeah, that's what I said. You got
Yeah.
it for me. I just happen to already have one.
So that being said, I will never buy Rob another gift unless I check with him first if he has it.
I
That's
don't
the
like
only way.
surprises. My wife has learned don't get me anything. Like let me know ahead of time. My father learned this when I was a kid. He just gave us money, and then after Christmas we would go as a family together to Toys R Us and buy stuff. I'm not an easy person to shop for. I prefer a meal and company to people buying me things because I have a very specific taste and I just don't. My buddy Joe, he knows I love the Nolan Batman movies, right? Like I love the Tumbler big time. I love that fucking vehicle.
Right.
And he was like, he went to Walmart and bought this Tumbler toy thinking I don't like that. And I was like, really? You went to Walmart and just picked up a $12 toy and was like, that's what I need, Like, where have you been the last 6 months? You know how hard it is to get a hold of you? I had this other shit we could go do, and I was just like, he's like, man, just go do something. I don't want nothing. No, I didn't ask you to get me a toy. What I really wanted you to do, I just wanted a friend. He's like, oh fuck, like I go there. So I always tell people, don't buy me shit unless I specifically say if someone wants to trade art for these exclusives, you let me know, and we will do it. So. All right, that's it. Anybody have Ashley? Any of your little?
I was gonna say that you're just like my dad. I cannot shop for my dad. The only thing I can get my dad is chocolate turtles. Like that's all I can get him. And so I was like I mean, my mom's like, I'm like, maybe dad will just. She's like, no, you cannot do that. My mom's been divorced from my dad for like 15, 16 years, and she is like, you cannot do that. And I'm like, but it's not special. And yeah, so.
I also accept gift cards to eBay. That I will always accept. If they make those, I don't even know what they do. But eBay would be the one where I can make that money stretch. Then I'm like, ooh, I have like $20 on a gift card. I could, because I'll go and find a bunch of shit from 1992.
Rob is the king of finding things on eBay and making money stretch. He one time got like a $40 gift card for eBay, and I'm sitting there on the Skype with him, and he's just like, I just bought this shit for 40 cents. I bought this book for $10. I got this shit. I got like $20 left. I don't even know what to do with it. I was like, all right. And he had like 30 things. He's like, oh man, eBay.
I was a poor kid. And I knew how to dig through those quarter bins for gold, So, Ashley, anything going on in your life? What are you working on this week?
I'm working on my art storybook right now. It's called Velthanius, and I'm working on character bios because I've had what was it? Hector was like, "Hey, I don't know anything about your characters, and I can't find anything about your characters." And I mean, that's kind of on purpose. I'm really like, I guess I'll get it out there when I get it out there. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll make some bios. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm doing art for them, and then they have like a 100 word, 50 word, whatever. Just telling them about who they are and what they're doing in their world in the world of Thane. Except that's not what it's called.
Coming to Kickstarter sometime in the next few years, right?
Yes. What?
What? The next few years.
I'm gonna have a Kickstarter. Yeah, in this summer. I want to do this. But I've been in like character bio hell because I keep doing the characters and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. No. And I'm driving myself crazy. So yeah.
So where you said coming next summer, you mean next 2 summers, right?
No.
We want some writing advice. You want some writing advice, Ashley? Right? Just give yourself a word count and then keep tweaking it until it's ready to ship.
Yeah.
But the writing isn't in the writing; it's in the rewriting. So you're never.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean
your bios? Just in how you describe characters, you're like that doesn't say what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, it's not even. It's not that. That's the easy part. But it's the art. I'm like, I'm not happy with that. I mean, I'm like, no, like I'm really picky. Like, which I mean,
yeah, cut some of that out. All right, 80%, 80 to 70 to 80% of your expectation is enough. And I just my advice to everybody, like, as cool as maybe the Star Wars retro cover was, it's probably 80% of what I really wanted. Like and Brandon, you as someone who recently has been doing my flats, you could tell I layer shit, right? Like
upon layers upon layers upon everything.
And I was like, that turtle thing is, I'll just keep it simple. And you're like, it's not simple, man. It's a lie. Rob lies. So, but even then, still is only 80%. So, yeah. But now your stuff's looking great, Ashley. And when you're ready, whenever you're ready to unveil it to the world, we'll get it right here on SketchCraft. Like,
yeah. And what?
Exclusive interview.
What? What?
We will have the exclusive interview with you on SketchCraft. We get first dibs, exclusive interview.
Okay, since you asked, yeah, I will spill well, not spill everything, but yeah. Yeah, but I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? No, talk.
That's what I was been waiting for. I'm stretching my neck like she's gonna forget what she was trying to say because
Yep.
Brandon, can't. Brandon slurs his words.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, after I get over drawing the same characters over and over and over again and posting that, I think I've lost followers because of that. They're like, you just like I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna post until I'm like, I don't care what you think. I'm just gonna post the same character in 7,000 different poses until I'm working on the next thing. I know that yeah, that may not get followers or whatever, but it's what I'm doing right now.
They'll come and go, and
They will.
the ones who really enjoy the art will stick with it till the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, the followers you're supposed to have will stay, and the ones that say
And
we'll get you 500 more go away.
yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of I'm paranoid, so like I think everyone hates me like already, and I think all of that,
That's
I
healthy.
think whenever I think really that's pretty much like 90-95% all in my head. So I really think I have nothing to worry about. I think I'm just creating all this craziness.
It's true.
So,
You are likable. Rob is not.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
And look
So
how far I
don't-
can come in life. And no one likes me.
yeah.
I can get people to drive 6 hours to learn how to use a color pencil, and they don't like me. So
Uh,
you'll be fine. Oh, and a big shout out to Joey Vasquez, who is a friend of the show. We used to have him on the stream a lot until I moved to YouTube instead of doing the Google Hangouts because Joey's a busy guy. But he got signed to Marvel this week, so he's going to be doing Marvel finally. I've known that dude since he was like 16. He was just a fan, and he liked my gritty stuff. And one of maybe 2 or 3 art trades I've ever done in my entire life, where he drew me. He's like, you pick a character, I'll pick a character. So he wanted a Splatterhouse, and I drew him this giant Splatterhouse, Mary Splatness. It's all gritty and shit. And I said, now draw me a Shredder, and because I picked a character I knew he was going to struggle with, and he came back, he's like, this was hard. I'm like, yeah, I know. He just used to draw Spider-Man. But I've always told Joey, he's a talented dude, and one day, fairly soon he'd get to Marvel, and so he's finally there. So big fucking thumbs up to Joey. I hope he gets to do everything he wanted to do. I have no doubt he will, and he's not stuck drawing all the Marvel Tsum Tsum covers. That I hope he does not get stuck. That would be a waste of Joey's talent, folks. Just saying. So big props to Joey and everything else. Anyone else have anything else to say? Are we all good?
I'm good.
Brandon, where can we find you on the internets?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Lead Heavy, LEAD Heavy.
Awesome. And Ashley, where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
All links are below. Can you believe
I'm
that?
Gang Feather. Sorry.
She's Gang Feather, right? Her Instagram links are below. Be sure to say hi. That's a wrap, folks. Also, remember, we're on Twitter and Instagram, too. Mostly Instagram, man. Instagram's where I'm really at. Twitter's just where I fucking complain about Nintendo. So, if you want to complain about Nintendo.
No one follows me on Twitter.
If you'd like to complain on...
Oh,
well,
if you... And I will say this again. If you play Mad Max, I will talk to you about Mad Max on Twitter, because that's what I do a lot on Twitter. Pretty much
and
all
if
I
you
do
play
on Twitter.
Uncharted, I will spoil it with you off the cast, so Ashley doesn't have to hear it.
Yes, please.
It's so good, folks. It's so good. All right, folks. SketchCraft is recorded from a live internet audience and supported by viewers like you. Please leave your comments and feedback below, and we will see you on the next SketchCraft Live. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Please share the page, share everything. We love you.
The video's stuck. I don't know what.